What's going on, good people? I hope you are having a great week, man. Happy Friday to all. I hope you are enjoying your week and you are ready for game weekend. That's right, Saturday and Sunday if you are college and NFL like TLP Sports Club is. I have a pretty good show for you today. We're going to have to end it right at 12:15 because I got to get up out of here. All right. But guess what, man? If you are watching this on a different platform other than YouTube, this is TLP Sports Club on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. The show that you are watching is TLP Live, guys, and I'm your host. I go by the name of Harry B. The B means billion. Shedeur went meme. The Cleveland Browns are playing games. The Colorado Buffs are in trouble, but I believe they can get out of the trouble. I've been trying to talk about the Colorado Buffs for so long. The last couple of shows, I can't get to them. I actually want to talk about college football as a whole and it's kind of get an understanding of what teams are actually, I would say projected to be in that playoffs and can possibly take it because college football at this point is really it's really like almost a fair game. It's weird. I guess I kind of got used to just having the dominant teams dominate all the time, but now the dominant teams are playing each other and anybody can kind of win any given Saturday. So that's interesting. So we're going to talk about Shedeur going meme. We're going to talk about the Colorado Buffaloes, if I can get to them. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns playing games. But we got to run that intro, so let's go ahead and do that right now before we come back and get this show started. Let's go.
BWB, bandwagon Buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work.
BWB.
All righty, so let's go ahead and get to work. So, I got my guy from around the association. He had a video. He made a video, and I guess Archo is on a new podcast. They got their new podcast, and I think they're calling it the Speak Easy. A lot of y'all know what the Speak Easy is. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what age you are, you probably went to one of them. But yeah, man. The YouTube channel around the association, he did a video and he's actually responding to Archo and what they had to say about Shedeur actually not answering questions, I guess audibly, miming pretty much it. It's interesting. They made some interesting comments. I think if you go under the comments of Archo talking, the Colorado and Shedeur fans are in there, and they got a few things to say. And I guess I have a question that I want to ask after we get into this. I want to ask some of the Colorado fans and then if you are a Cleveland Brown fan and you are a Colorado fan or a Shedeur fan, I want to ask you a question. But let's go ahead and listen to this. Like I said, it's from around the association, the YouTube channel. I want to say salute. This is not my video, but I'm actually going to use that video because I didn't take the different clips. So since you already have it, I can give him credit for doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen to that, guys, and then we can discuss it. But before I actually do that, I want to let you guys know that this is a call-in show. You can actually join the panel. You can come on here and we can discuss the different topics that I'm discussing. If you have an opinion and you know how to express it, come on here. Join TLP Live at gmail.com. Excuse me. The email again is jointlplive at gmail.com. That is the email. And right on the bottom of your screen, for those of you who are actually watching and not just listening, it's my Cash App, and that's $ TLP Sports Club. Tango Larry Peter, TLP. TLP Sports Club is the $ TLP Sports Club is my Cash App for those of you who want to bless this channel and help me to continue to do this show for free. All right. You know how you say, you're so used to saying TLP, TLP, and you don't enunciate everything. Some people be like, what is he saying? It's Tango Larry Peter TLP. All right. So that is the information, guys. Let's go ahead and get this show started. So if you want to call into the show, guys, email me and I will send you the link so that you can join the show. All right. So let's go ahead and pull this up, share our screen, and then we will continue. All right. So let's go ahead and start this here.
Decision maker in the National Football League is going to look at Shedor's actions from today in the locker room and say, I think more highly of you now than I did then. I love Dion. He knows that. I love the Sanders family.
Go one, son. You did that. All right, so that's Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. He put in laughing emojis. He said, good one, son. You did that. So Coach Prime is laughing at Shedor's, I guess his, just clowning around, playing around with the media and letting them know if y'all can play, I can play too. And Coach Prime is laughing, and he tweeted that. So this is what Archo is actually responding to.
I hate this. I do not want to positively reinform something that is negatively impacting Shedor. No decision maker in the National Football League is going to look at Shedor's actions from today in the locker room and say, I think more highly of you now than I did then. Yeah. Now, if you want to suggest, Acho, what was he supposed to do? Rex Ryan told him not to talk. Then say, hey, you know what? I'm just focused on ball. I'm just focused on getting better. Hey, what? I'm just focused on next week. I'm just focused on serving Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco until my number gets called.
All right. So, I mean, that sounds correct. So I want to ask y'all the question. I want to ask the Shedor fans and the Deion Sanders fans. I want to ask them a question. How many of y'all think that Shedor did the right thing? And how many of y'all think he should have just did what Archo is recommending? Like, just keep it simple, like some people do, where they know that they got to answer the media, and they're just gonna say, "Look, man, I'm just focused on ball. Congratulations to Dylan. I hope he balls out. I'm still waiting for my opportunity." How many of y'all think that what he did was immature, and that people are gonna take that negatively? Because what he was attempting to do, I know he was just playing around, right? But what he was attempting to do now backfires, and then it causes more, right? More of a firestorm, and people are now reacting to it, right? Whether it's negative or positive, like DC sometimes says, hey, you don't get to choose how people react to it. You do whatever you're going to do, but you don't necessarily get to control or choose how people are going to react to this. So was it a mature decision to do what he's doing? And Coach Prime also saying, egging him on and saying that was a good one. So how many of y'all are taking it like he was just joking around and people should just move on, right? So how many people? So I got a few questions. How many of y'all think that was a good idea? How many of y'all think that was a bad idea? And Archo is right for saying what he said, right? How many of y'all think that? Should he stay professional? Should he continue to do what he's doing? Be himself? You know what I'm saying? If they can play, he can play too. And here's the thing. I think a lot of people can look at this and say, yo, he's just having fun, right? He's a young man. He's not a boy. He's not a little boy. He's a young man, and he's having fun. And you can take it as, the media, like maybe some people just need to understand just, hey, this generation, they move a little differently, right? And if it's a joke, then take the joke. Take the joke with everything you're saying, right? Everything you're do, and you'll take things out of context and stuff like that. So just take the joke, because we know that Shedor he's an articulate young man. He knows how to express himself. He's confident, so he says what's on his mind. But, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes he is going to joke around. That is, his age showing, right? He's not this old man that's been doing this forever, right? This is a young man, and he's actually enjoying his career. Does he have the right to enjoy his career and run it the way he wants to run it? I believe he does. And does the media need to maybe take a step back, take a deep breath, and stop taking so many things? I mean, taking things so seriously? Yeah, because I think, on one hand, I think it was a joke, because the thing about it is I hang around a lot of his type of age and younger every single day, right? So I get it. I understand how they move. Our generation, when I was growing up, we move a little differently, right? But their generation is not as serious as our generation was. They're getting a lot more money than our generation got. They're getting a lot of opportunities that our generations did not have, right? Social media is here. We didn't have social media, and their culture and the chat rooms and the things that they're in are different from the way that we moved. So we took things a lot more serious than they take serious. Life is not as rigid as we used to take it. For them, it's a little different. So I think a lot of the talking heads, we talk from a generation where things were very serious. They're in a generation where they don't take everything as serious as we take it. So that's why I'm asking the question. Do you think what he did, if you think about his generation, do you think it was that serious, or was it a joke? Should he have done that, or should he do what Archo is saying? If you don't want to talk, instead of giving them more red meat, right? If you don't want to say anything, or you don't want your words to be taken out of context, then just stay neutral. Just say something, like politically correct. I'm focusing on what the team has me focusing on, and I'm just moving the way that I need to move in order for me to be ready. So when they call my number, I'll be ready. So what do you think about Dillon Gabriel? When they ask you questions about Dillon Gabriel, they're trying to get news because he's the third string, right? When I talk to my guy DC, right, and others, we want to stick on the fact. We want to stick strict to what is real, right? The objective information, right? So if we want to stay to the objective information, there should be no reason why any of the media should be asking any fifth rounder or third string quarterback his thoughts on anything. If we just want to keep it a buck all the way 100. So y'all should not be asking. On one hand, you want to treat him like he is a fifth rounder, third string, right? But on the other hand, you also want to exploit his popularity, and you also want to enjoy the fact that the audience, the world wants to hear from him. And you want to have it both ways. I don't think you get to have it both ways. So when you think of it from that standpoint, I think he has all the right to do what he's doing. All the rights. If you don't like it, don't interview him. And I think that's how it is. If you don't like what's going on, stop interviewing him. You can use Trump as an example. A lot of people, on other sides, they don't like the way Trump moves. They don't like what Trump says and stuff like that, but they continue to interview him and then proceed to use those interviews as a mocking point. Why mock him? The only thing, the strength you got, your power that you have, your power is the decision to not interview them, ignore them. But if you can't, then you can't have it both ways. You feel what I'm saying? You don't get to say, "Oh, he ain't that important. He's a fifth round, third string quarterback." So then why you keep talking to him? If that's what you really feel, if that's how you really feel, stop talking to this young man because he's not important. He's a third stringer. Who talks to third stringers? Nobody talks to third stringers. So why y'all keep asking him questions? For his sake, for his brand's sake. Let me see what y'all are saying. Good morning, everybody. Beast reincarnated. I don't think it's immature. Beast reincarnated says they told him to be silent. He did. That is not silent. That's not what they were saying. So we'll talk about that a little bit, but that's not what silent is. That is not silent. That's communicating. That's not what they were saying by being silent, because you're actually pouring fuel on the fire, because you're using what they said and you're mocking the media. So you're doing worse than when you were actually saying something. So, like I said, we'll talk more about that. Uncle Buffs says it don't matter what Shedeur do. He can talk. They get mad and upset. He says nothing. They will still get mad and upset. It's a lose-lose at the end of the day. I don't agree with you 100%. And again, I'm asking y'all the question: do y'all think it was a good idea? And does it hurt his brand at all if you're thinking about his brand? And I want you to think about the question though: if you weren't a Shedeur fan, how would you proceed? How would you answer this question? Because if you're saying that it wasn't a good idea, it was a good idea. If they say, just like Uncle Buff says, it don't matter what Shedeur do. He can talk. They get mad and upset. He does something. So I guess how you're viewing it is that you're on the position of well, he should just be himself. Take the first half of what I said, right? Now let's deal with the other half of it, because there is where he has the right to do whatever he wants. And then there is the second half of that conversation where it's like, okay, how are people perceiving what you're doing? Because that's the part that you don't get to control. So how do you think, or do you think it matters how people perceive him and the way that they react to how they perceive him? Do you think that is fair and it matters? Because people do have their opinions. So if the opinion is continuing to be negative, right? If you mime it or if you say it, then are you in the position, you, Uncle Buffs and others, Beast Reincarnated, are you guys in the position where you like it and you think it's good for his brand? Think about the question though, right? Don't look at me and say Harry B is on the opposite side. Let's just say I'm neutral and I'm asking you for him. For his brand, I want you to think about, right? For his brand. And for him as a human being. Think about that. So there's two things going on here. He has the right to do whatever he wants, but it's a good for his brand. If you were the brand advisor or you were the brand developer, is this good for the brand that the media or some people are taking this in a negative light? See if you can answer that question. Because I think sometimes we get so close to situations that we're not thinking from the business aspect of that situation, right? While we are, let's say, rebels, we're all rebels, and we see our rebel leader, our rebel, the guy that's leading the charge, Shedeur in this case, we see him out there giving it to him, and we're cheering, right? But on the flip side, if it's not helping him, should we continue to cheer from the business aspect of it? And I hope y'all are understanding me. Some are not going to, because we want to stay in our rebel energy, right? And we don't want to think of anything else. Nobody should challenge us. If he's giving it to them, then let him continue to give it to them, right? So, but I want to know, how do you feel about that as far as the business is concerned? Because we talked about this from a flip side, Stephen A. Smith. I said a bunch of Stephen A. Smiths. How many of y'all think this is the same thing? If you give an inch, then you're capitulating. How many of y'all think this is the same thing? I have more questions than I thought, but how many of y'all think this is the same thing? Like, do y'all think Shedeur's doing the right thing and he should continue to be doing what he's doing? And how many of y'all think it's the same thing? My guy, Phil So Real, is joining me today. Phil So Real, what up with you, man? Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, brother. How are you?
Man, listen, the government is shut down, but bless God, I'm still working. I'm riding the
Awesome.
clock, but I'm still working, so it's all good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I miss you, man. I miss you. I miss you a
Hey,
lot.
man, I miss you too, man. Hey, listen. I done already put it on the family calendar. I will be on the live tomorrow. I told the wife, I was like,
Okay.
look, we going on vacation Sunday through Tuesday,
Hmm.
coming up. So Saturday from 3:30 when Bama come on to 11 o'clock when Colorado goes off, don't bother me.
Hmm.
I'll take care of the baby as I need to, but outside of that, don't say nothing to me.
I was doing my rounds this morning, and I saw y'all. You and DC were having a conversation. I was like, wait a minute. I couldn't pick it up, and I was like, I haven't read it yet, so I'm gonna wait till I get off the show to read it and
Yeah,
respond.
go ahead. It
Okay.
was just talking about Mac Jones, man. It wasn't nothing too crazy. I was just being silly because, Mac Jones had a really good game last night against the Rams.
Oh,
The
okay. Oh, wait,
49ers were
you're talking NFL? What? Oh, I got to read that.
But you got to think about it. Mac Jones is a Bama guy. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm always going to
You
check
pick
on my
and
Bama
choose.
boys. I'm always checking on my
You
Bama
pick and
boys,
choose.
man. See how they doing, man. That's what it is. That's all it was.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll read it later. All right, so let me just say hi to some of the people because I'm sure you wanna chime in. Peter Investor, what up with you? Tony Lawrence, hope all is well. I promise you guys I'll get to your comments as we have this conversation because I'm asking a lot of questions. Did you get an opportunity to hear some of the questions I was asking, Phil?
No, I didn't, man. I saw that you jumped on. I was sending out some emails for work, and then I was like, let me just hop on since I'm about to cruise for the rest of the next 30 minutes of work.
Oh, okay, so Archo is reacting to Prime reaction to Shador and his meme situation, miming situation, and he said a few things, and I know there's a few people that are, that have their opinion about Shador doing what he's doing, and he has all the right to do that. So I was just asking a few questions, just wondering, what I'm saying, if people are looking at it from both sides, because I feel like in this community we always tend to listen to it or look at things from one angle of it, but there's several angles to look at it. Because if you are, let's say Shador's a rebel leader, right? And we are all rebels, and we're like, oh yeah, we're rooting him on. We're saying, give it to him. From the standpoint of him miming, from the business aspect, I want the Shador fans to look at it from the business aspect. From the personal aspect, we're like, okay, we're cheering him on, let him do what he does. How is the business aspect being affected? And if it's being affected, then should Shador pivot and start being a little bit more mature? Because I think Beast Reincarnated said he doesn't think that it was immature. So how do you think? Do you think that was an immature way to handle it, or do you think that was?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was immature. Like, it's cute, it's funny. You know what I'm saying? He'll get some laughs from the crew and everything like that. But man, like, as far as put it like this, when you look at the greats in football or any other sport, do you see them playing these types of games? No, you don't. I understand his frustration. I understand he want to clap back at Rex Ryan and all that kind of stuff. But this is not how you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to prove your value, if you want to prove your worth, go out there, practice hard. When your opportunity comes, because Dylan Gabriel is not gonna take the Browns to success this year. Let's just be honest. When Dylan Gabriel eventually fails as a starting quarterback as the Browns, your name is going to be called next, and you have to show them that you're going to be ready. And playing these games in the media and all that kind of stuff is not worth it. I would rather him give the BS coach speak, saying, "Hey, listen, I'm just trying to be here to be the best teammate that I can, blah 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 blah," and keep it moving, than play these types of games, because the billionaires that are making these decisions, they're not here for that crap. And that's what it boils down to.
I wonder why are they incapable of doing that? Let's bring DC on so he can help us out. I wonder if they're incapable of just doing the regular thing. I mean, would it hurt? I mean, why is it so hard for them to do that? DC, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, fellas. How about you guys?
Good. Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide all the way.
I'm happy for your. I'm a little sad for my Buffs, but you know, it's a season. We all gotta go through the ups and downs. But let me just jump you in, DC.
Okay.
What is that really tough for these guys to just do the political thing, like the regular dry? I'm just here to play my game and that's it. I don't care about nobody else. Like, what is going on? Like, is it hard for them to do that?
You mean is it hard for Shador or players or
Yeah, but like
who?
you know the Prime because Prime is cheering it on too. He's like, you know, he's out there tweeting and he's laughing and stuff like that with it. So I don't know. I find it to be kind of.
I think what happens, like, you know, we have our thing in our community being authentically black, that type of stuff, and just being you and don't care what people say. And for me, I would say this is that you get to say whatever you want to say, but you don't get to you get to pick whatever you want to say. You don't get to pick the consequences. And like the people, they can say that's right. Shador should say whatever you want to say. He can say whatever he say, but like I said, the thing about that's why I always say you got to have people in your corner that will tell you sometimes the uncomfortable truth, because folks will cheer you on, but when it's time to pay the cost, the bill's only coming to your address.
Yo, say that again. Yo, say that again.
I said that people will cheer you on to get you when you're doing something they like, but when it's time to pay the cost, the bill will only come to your address. They're not going to pay that bill. Dad can't pay that bill even. Nobody going to pay that bill but Shador Sanders. And so I think that we can sit back and say, that's fine, that was fun. He was just being young, playful, stuff like that. And we can accept that. But it doesn't matter what we think because we're not writing no checks and we're not signing no contracts. That check, whoever's on that check, you have to keep in mind. Well, you know how us in our community say, you don't sign my check, which is straight up, you can't tell me what to do. Well, the person that signs your check, that's the flip side of it is, they have the thing. So if Jimmy Haslam has a problem with it, he gonna come see you. And I think that it probably would have been better just to go, hey, I think, you know, sometimes we have ourselves, but sometimes you have to pivot yourself depending upon the environment. Doesn't mean that you minimize yourself. I'm never saying that. I just think you have to also be like to a point. If I'm walking through, if I'm getting ready to go fish, I don't start yelling because then I won't fish. No, I can yell and blast my music, but I'm not gonna catch no fish.
Because you're scaring the fish away.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I also want to chime in real quick on something I just thought about while DC was speaking. I don't even understand why we expect the Sanders family to have any kind of decorum when it comes to dealing with the media. I born and raised in Georgia, grew up in Georgia, lived in Georgia most of my life outside of when I went to Grambling. Watched the Braves my whole life. When Deion Sanders played for the Braves, and I don't know if it was when they clinched to go to the World Series, or when they won the World Series, he dumped water on the guy's head that had been writing some bad columns about him. If he wanted to press charges, he could. That could be considered assault. But like Deion is that type of immature person when it comes to dealing with the media if he don't like what they say. So I'm not surprised when the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree when it comes to dealing with the media and being scrutinized or being treated like anybody else. Because I don't think anybody's treating as a whole, I don't think anybody's treating Deion or Shador unfairly. I think they're being treated like everybody else, and for whatever reason, they're not used to being treated like everybody else, so they can't handle it.
So let me play this clip again. Some people are just new coming in
the locker room and say, I think more highly of you now than I did then. I love Deion. He knows that. I love the Sanders family.
So this is the tweet that Deion sent out with all the laughing emojis. And he said, good one, son. You did that. This is after Shador answered the questions, miming the answers and not really being audible. So this is what Coach Prime tweeted.
I hate this. I do not want to positively reinform something that is negatively impacting Shador. No decision.
So think about that, what he just said. He does not want to reinform something that's negatively impacting him. Now, there are people that are in our community that would take that statement and say, well, he's actually, you know what I'm saying? Like I got at him for coning for a whole nother reason. But this statement right here where he says something that's negatively impacting Shedeur, that's what I want to know. Do people think that this is negatively impacting Shedeur, or the people that agree with Shedeur do not think that this is going to have any negative impact? Because if you are supporting that and you are cheering, right, just like DC said, you're cheering this on, but you're not going to be around when the check comes, right? You're gonna run. You're gonna be gone. So does anybody that support this action think that there is any negative impact based on this? Let's keep going.
Decision maker in the National Football League is going to look at Shedeur's actions from today in the locker room and say, I think more highly of you now than I did then. Yeah. Now, if you want to suggest, Acho, what was he supposed to do? Rex Ryan told him not to talk. Then say, hey, you know what? I'm just focused on ball. I'm just focused on getting better. Hey, what? I'm just focused on next week. I'm just focused on serving Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco until my number gets called. Just give coach speak. Just give quarterback speak. That's literally what Jalen Hurts does every single week. It's boring. Fans will hate it. People on Twitter will hate it. It won't get retweets. It won't get any attention, but it will help accelerate you starting on the football field.
So yeah, I think I feel like that's so very important to understand it from that standpoint. Like to understand it from, is it hurting Shedeur or is it not hurting Shedeur? Because if you are cheering it on and it hurts him, then are you really a Shedeur fan? You see what I'm saying? If you cheer something on that hurts somebody because you feel like you need to feel vindicated through somebody else, like you're living vicariously through somebody else being a rebel because you're not in that position, so you cheer on their own detriment. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense, guys.
100%.
Okay, so if you're cheering on somebody's detriment, and then later on the impact negatively impacts them or affects them, then are you really a fan of them? Let me hear your thoughts on that since you're here. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that the people cheering it on, if it negatively impacts him, do y'all think those are real fans or those are people who are just kind of riding the wave?
They just want to get their rocks off. They just want to be able to say, look at Shedeur, look at Deion, look at these people that look like me sticking it to the man. And I think we got to get beyond that. I understand there's a certain time. Like, if you really try to fight the power, then let's be about that. And if that was the case, then Jackson State would still have Deion Sanders as their head coach. So let's not try to make them out to be like a martyr or like them trying to be somebody trying to stick it to the man. These are guys that are arrogant, that are full of themselves, that are focused on flash and not doing the work that it takes to be successful. Deion did that as a player, as a coach. He skipped the line because of his name, but he's not doing the work that it takes to get the job done as a coach. And unfortunately, right now, his son is not doing that job. There's nothing wrong with, quote unquote, being just like everybody else. Tom Brady has given you the blueprint. Peyton Manning has given you the blueprint. Drew Brees has given you the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Phillip Rivers has given you the blueprint. Maybe he didn't win the Super Bowl, but you have all these guys that have come before you as a quarterback that have given you the blueprint on what it takes to be successful. But for whatever reason, you want to do it your way. And for whatever reason, we, people that look like all three of us, want to champion somebody that's doing that. But at the same time, I think it's at a detriment to the people that's coming up behind him. Because when you got somebody as flamboyant as Cam Newton coming out and saying like, hey, Shedeur, you might want to fall back and make some adjustments, that's telling you something. Cam Newton could probably still be in the NFL right now if he made some of those adjustments that he's trying to tell Shedeur right now 5 years ago. But he didn't want to make those adjustments, so you need to learn from the people that came before you. And unfortunately, I just don't think Shedeur has that bone in his body to do that.
DC.
Yeah, like I said, I know it's especially in these days and times, the thing of not wanting to code switch and again being authentically black and being yourself and feeling like sometimes the system wants you to cower, bow down, and enough of that. And then so there'll be people, within our community that will be like, hey, that's don't let them. You stand up, you say whatever you got to say, and let that be that. But the problem is that, like I said, that comes with a cost, and it's not. Sometimes you got to bypass some things to get to the prize. So I think that people are cheering them on because they like that. They like the bravado. They like a lot of that stuff. They like the Muhammad Ali. But there are some things Muhammad Ali would even sit back and say is that I cost myself a lot of years because you're facing what you face. You want to be different, but you're facing what you're facing. So I would never tell anybody to shut up, don't say it. I'm just gonna basically say is this is likely what's going. Like, remember I tell you, my goal was to look at a plan, tear it down, and then
Mm,
but look at the holes where the thing is. I would
yeah.
sit back and say is that, hey, here's the thing about this. You can say it, but you have to count your costs. You can do this. I don't think this helps him at all. This does not help him at all for your next job, and it might not help you here because here's the thing: it may be to a point where you're not playing to the third or fourth game, and here's the thing: the Browns may make a decision to, I'm gonna play you, but I'm not gonna invest in you anymore.
So here's what I want to say about those who might be out there thinking that this is capitulation. Those who might be confusing this with what Stephen A. Smith does. I want to say, and JR Boxing, I'm bringing you on. I want to set the boundaries apart, right? So there is times where, okay, the most recent thing that Stephen A. Smith has that got me all like worked up is like he's telling people out there, do not trouble Trump, do not do anything, just lay down, allow him to be who he is because he's coming for everyone. So don't step in his way, get out of the way, get your money. That is different from what Shador is doing. That is the type of stuff that people who were, I would say, civil rights leaders, they say, hey man, power's out there and power's doing a lot of things that are hurting the minorities or helping the small people. So we need to speak truth and we need to speak righteousness to power. So that at no point, if power is a bully, you need to then step up and allow power to know that you are not going to bully us as the minorities. That's a difference from what Shador's doing. What Shador's doing is he set himself up in this situation where he said, look at the field of quarterbacks, right? I'm sure I can do better than that. And he's in a position where he's a third stringer, right? He's trying to bring himself to the point where he can play. So when people hear that, a lot of quarterbacks will probably talk about that. Like, who does he think he's better than? Choose the quarterback, name names, drop the names. Who you think you're better than, right? When people advise him and say, hey, man, you might not want to say that, right? They're trying to help him to realize that, hey, these are the type of things that people take back and it rubs off them wrongly. So that's the difference between him setting himself up, and then now when somebody says, hey man, you might want to draw back a little bit and be quiet, now you're trying to meme. So people are saying, hey, Shador, and people are cheering that on. So I wanted to make sure that people don't get it misconstrued thinking that these two things are the same. They're not. He set himself up, and now he's reacting to the reaction, like DC said. You don't get to choose how people respond to your reactions, but you the one who put yourself in this position, and now you're clowning, and people are reacting to you also clowning. Let me bring on JR Boxing. Let me see what he thinks about that statement. JR Boxing, welcome to the show, my brother. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. How you doing today?
Oh, what's good, Harry? What's good, Ty? What's good, DC? What's up with y'all, fellas?
What up?
So Phil's in the building. Ty,
Oh,
Ty
I
hasn't joined yet.
Oh, my bad, Phil. My bad,
It's
Phil.
it's
I
it's all
thought it
good.
said
It's all
Ty
good,
early.
man.
My
I hope
bad.
all well with you. Hope all's well with you.
Yeah,
All
my
right.
bad,
So
man.
what I just set up, were you able to hear me a little bit?
Yeah, I heard you. As
Okay.
far as
So
like what's going on.
let me get your reaction to that. I just wanted to make sure that people don't get it misconstrued, like Shador is leading some type of civil rights movement, and we should all be cheering him on as opposed to tearing him down when he was the cause of the reaction that we are reacting to now. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
for me, and I know DC can contest to this too, as being, military officers serving our country. Like, are there times in your career where you have to assimilate, right? Be a company man, right? Sure. I mean, and that's the decision that you have to decide to make with yourself. Nobody else. You got to make that decision with yourself. So for Shador, what I would say to Shador, I would say that's the decision that you have to make for yourself, like how you want to go about it. Because two things can be true at the same time, right? So
Okay.
what Stephen A. and Ryan Clark kind of said and spoke to, they're speaking their truth because that's how they got to their position. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you had to do to get to where you are now, to be able to speak out and say what you need to say, nothing wrong with that. I don't, judge you. But if somebody else decided to take another path, and it's their path that they deciding to choose, and they get to the finish line, however they get there, then that's how they decide to do it. So me with Shador, when they asked him the question and he responded saying, "Well, look, it's bad quarterback play going on, and I think I could do better." I mean, that's his honest assessment. Yeah, I think I can do better in some instances. It's no different, and for me to hear Cam Newton say, "Man, you probably should fall back." This the same Cam Newton that was out of the league saying, "There's not 32 quarterbacks better than me." He said that. So now you're telling Shador, "Bro, you need to fall back. You probably should just step in line with everybody else." That's kind of crazy to me when you out of the league and you're saying there's not 32 quarterbacks better than me. So Cam Newton is saying, "I believe in myself so much that I know I can do it at that level still." That's what I got from Shador saying, "It's bad quarterback play going on. I think I can play better than that. I believe in myself enough to say, hey man, I can play better than some of these guys. Maybe not all of them, but hey, I could play. I could go out there and make some mistakes too, or play better than what's being projected right now." So two things can be right at the same time. No situation is wrong. So it's up to Shador how he wants to handle it. And that's cool. And if people want to champion, people going to champion, whatever they want to champion. But I
Well,
understand what Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith said as well, just due to the fact that that's their path that they took. Because myself, I had to assimilate in a culture, and I had to figure out how do I get myself to a certain position. And that's what I decided to do.
okay. So let me ask you a
Can I
question.
ask this question?
Oh, I got a question too. I got some pushback, but I got some
Okay.
questions too. Go ahead, Phil. You go first.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna ask it and I'll leave it on the floor. If we were talking about anyone else, I don't think it would be that big of an issue. But my question is, do you think because it's Shador Sanders, he has to have a heightened awareness of the things he says and how he says it? Because if this was Philip Harris being the third string quarterback, fourth string quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
First
But
of all,
when you're
nobody would
dealing
be asking you a question about anything.
exactly. So when you know that you're Shador Sanders, your name carries a certain amount of weight, you have to be even more careful with what you say. Is it fair to say that, hey, his name is going to carry more weight, therefore he has to be more mindful of what he says? Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's a fair assessment. I mean, and then like if you want to be funny, it's a way to do it. Like for me, I probably would have said, "Man, I'm just believing our kicker." I would say our kicker has been nailing them 60 yarders in practice. If you're going to deflect, deflect. But I think he has to know that because you are a third string and somebody is sticking a microphone in your face, it is because of your pedigree. And that, yes, there's a good chance that you cannot win. So guess what? I look at it this like my short time as a police officer, and now I have to arrest somebody, you know what, and I read them their rights. What's the first thing you say?
Anything you can, anything you
You
say
have the
can be used
right to
against you.
remain
Yeah,
silent.
you got the right to remain silent. See, I ain't
Exactly.
never been arrested before, so I don't know all that stuff.
Yes, you have the right
Phil.
to remain silent. And
I need
somebody,
receipts.
right,
I done been pulled over before, but thank God I ain't never been putting on handcuffs unless you know what I'm saying. We were
right,
trying to have some fun that night, but that's a whole nother conversation.
right.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, somebody come ask you in the car, you stop, it's like smelling weed as you're driving by. Do you have any weed in the car? Define weed. No, that's not a good answer. The bottom line is, yeah, no.
A blunt.
But go ahead here with your pushback.
No. That was a question for JR Boxing. I want him to respond to that question before I give my pushback. JR Boxing, you still here?
This is not.
Okay, so we're not. If you're talking, we're
But-
not hearing you. You might have to
but-
log off and log back on.
While we
Okay,
wait
just
for
went
him,
out.
while we wait for him to get situated, I do want to say this though. I think DC brings up a good point. All jokes aside, it is okay to shut up, and I'm saying that out loud, talking about Shador, and I know that may sound harsh, but I want to be very clear. I'm preaching this to myself, because there are a lot of times where there are things that I want to say that I could say, but I don't have to say, and it's okay to just shut up sometimes. Like you don't have to say the thing that's on your mind. You don't have to say what you're thinking at a certain time. And I think the sooner he realizes that, he understands that, the better off he'll be. You know, he could have just went through it and said no comment the whole time. I mean, obviously, whatever he says, there's still gonna
That's
be an
even worse.
issue. Well, I mean, that's fair, but I guess my point is, no matter what he says, people are going to still scrutinize him. But to
Right.
do something immature and childish, like trying to mime your answer and stuff, I think it just gives more fuel to the fire.
Right.
But the thing I want to say here also, Harry, I mean, you're a man of faith. You know, when Jesus, he was quiet. And remember how it was like, don't you know I could do X, Y, and Z to you? And it was like, being quiet. But I think that go ahead and cook and then I'll come back.
Is it time for them to get a publicist if they don't have one? Because I feel like a
I
publicist.
thought they had like the little brown haired Jewish lady that be with Dion all the time, that always had the big glasses and stuff. I can't remember her name.
I don't
but,
know if she's a publicist, because if she's responsible for what's going out in the public with them, somebody need to start coaching them. Like, hey, listen, you ain't always gotta do what you're doing. A publicist will tell you, hey man, protect the brand, because you might have the wrong people cheering for you. Those people are not your authentic people. The authentic fans are the ones that really care for you and will tell you you did wrong. The people that cheer for you and tell you, hey man, you're doing good when it's going to affect your brand, those are not your people. All right,
They're enablers.
That's what I'm saying. Those are not your real people. All
But
right,
are they
those
going to
people-
actually listen though? That's the question I have. Would they even listen to the people around them?
But that's why I asked the question: are they even capable of even being able to just enact that basic thing that everybody's asking? Hey, why don't you? If somebody asks you a question, okay, let's say somebody took your words out of context, right? And it's not like, okay, let me ask this question. If you said, I am, look at the quarterback field, I can do better than that. Let's talk about that a little bit. What is the context we're supposed to get talk that in? Are we supposed to say the young man is very confident, I'm glad he said that only? Or can we talk about the opposite of where people might take it wrongly and say, well, you are third string. You were the fifth rounder. Again, you don't get to choose how people react to whatever you say. So what is the context that we are supposed to discuss that in?
Well, but the thing is, I'm gonna go by his words. It would have been great if he said, "Well, I know I'm third string now, but I do believe that I can play and contribute as a
Boom.
starting QB." That's one
Perfect
thing.
answer.
Period.
Perfect
Now, if
answer.
you turn
Perfect
around and
answer.
say
Oh,
to a
say that
point where
again.
I'm
I'm
looking,
sorry. I was reading something. Say that again.
I was saying is that if he had asked that question, I said, "Well, um, I believe that I can play and be." What did I say, Phil? I forgot what I just
You
said.
said I know I'm a third string quarterback, but I believe I
Right.
can play and be successful. Basically, is the
Right,
gist of it.
right.
Okay.
Right. So that's one thing. But then when you turn around and say, I've been looking around the league, so I'm looking around the whole league now, and
You see the
but
quarterback
what
play
I
around this.
see that,
You see what's
and I
happening.
can do better than that. So basically, what you said was, I can do better than all of y'all. That's what you said by your
Including
word.
your own locker room. Including your own locker room.
Exactly. You sitting right in the middle of it. So to sit back and say, I'm not going to listen to what you meant. I understand you might have meant something else. But what you said was you're better than everybody to include your own locker room. So if I'm Dylan and I'm Flacco, I'm probably pulling to the side, man. I mean, what's your issue, dude? What you talking about? At the end of the day is I would never disrespect you like that because that was called what they call sneak dissing. That's talking a little greasy without
Yeah,
saying greasy. So at the end
yeah.
of the day, is
Right.
I
So
get
if
how people
somebody was to
feel.
approach you, let's say you were Shador, either DC or Phil. If you were Shador and you said something like that, and Dylan Gabriel, or let's just say I was one of the quarterbacks in that room, and I approach you and I say, "Hey, bro, you just said that you was better than half of the field, half of the quarterbacks or the quarterbacks in the league. Did you mean me as well? How? What is the context in which you would actually answer that question?"
He gonna
Well, he
have to
said
say
I could
yeah.
do. He said I could do better than that. He didn't put no to some nothing. He basically said I looked around the league, and that
Right,
basically
but
is
how would
confirmed
you?
all.
But would you see how he's blaming everybody else to saying that, hey, you guys took my words out of context. So what context, right? If you were approached by Dylan Gabriel, right? What would be the context, or how will you answer that question? Like, nah, man, I didn't really mean it like that. If you saying I didn't mean it like that, then how do you clean that up? Like, what did he mean about
You
that?
gotta
He,
st- you
I
gotta
honestly
stand on
think he meant.
business.
I think he means that. Listen, I feel like I'm a really good quarterback. I shouldn't have been drafted where I was drafted, and I think I can be successful. That's what he's trying to say. But again, when you work, words mean things, and I know that
Okay.
you can't always talk slow and think everything through. Everybody can't be um, Edgar Allan Poe or Shakespeare or even a Michael Eric Dyson that can just throw out these big words and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes you're just talking and things come out. I get that. However, again, you are Shador Sanders. You've been in the limelight your whole life. You know everything that you say is going to be used against you. You have to be mindful of what you say. And if you are trying to get your point across, you have to make sure that your point is gotten across effectively.
But
And
Phil,
it wasn't in this situation.
if your daddy, when you mime, your daddy tweets or whatever it was, a whole bunch of laughing emojis and say, "Good one, son." Is there any incentive for him to change course?
No, and this is something that you maybe we need to talk about on the Billionaires Mindset channel. Shout out to Harry with that. But being a present father doesn't mean you're being a present to your children. And I think unfortunately, sometimes Dion is a present father, but he is not a present. He is not always a gift to his children. But again, I'll save that for the other channel.
Okay, so
Y'all go subscribe to the Billionaire Mindset.
Janisa Hall is saying, no, he didn't. He said, if you look at QB play around the league, he is capable of better. So can you, so he is capable of better. So that's the same thing we're saying, right? That's
Yes,
not any different from what we are saying,
that's not
right?
any difference.
Right. He
You can
said, if you look around the QB, if you look around the league and see the QB play around the league, I can do better than that. I'm capable of better than that.
So I
So
want to say this. Yeah, I appreciate them pointing out, okay, maybe we did not have the exact quote right. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, the essence of what he's saying still remains.
right, it's the same. It's pretty much the same thing. If you say you're capable of better, right? If you're saying, hey, if somebody's at your job, let's bring it home. Let's bring it closer to some of us, right? If you are at your job and somebody is like, you see all these jokers around here, you see all these workers, I'm sure I can do better than that. You see what I'm saying? Like, how will you take it? Because we want to protect Shedeur, but we're not protecting the bag. I think that's where I wanted to take this. I didn't want it to come off and people start getting mad at me, thinking like, oh, here he goes again, right? I wanted to know if people that protect Shedeur are interested in his bag, right? Because if we're protecting someone, we got to understand that the thing we're protecting is the thing that they're interested in. He's interested in his NFL career. And in order for you to be interested in the same thing he's interested in, he has to conduct himself a certain way. There is no other way. You can't be a rebel because they get rid of rebels very quickly. Look at Cam Newton. Look at Colin Kaepernick. They get rid of rebels. So if you're not trying to protect his bag, then are you really for Shedeur? Because you're egging on something that can mess up his bag.
And I want to point out something real quick. And you're talking about rebels. You can even look at somebody like an Aaron Rodgers. I think people would consider him a rebel. He does ayahuasca. I want to try it one day. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But he's a special person. But his talent, they are willing to put up with. And they're keeping him in the league. I think this is going to be his last year with the Steelers. But you can be a rebel, but your talent has to be undeniable.
Like his dad, Deion Sanders was a rebel.
Right.
But his talent was undeniable.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Cam Newton. You're going to end up like Colin Kaepernick. And you even look at somebody like a Michael Vick. Look at what he had going on with the whole dog fighting situation. Went to jail, came back, and had a decent career because his talent level said, hey, you know what? He's worth trying to take a risk. Unfortunately, I think Shedeur was a great college quarterback under the system with his dad. But as it translates to the NFL, I don't think he's that dude. I don't think he's that guy. So he needs to be mindful of what he's doing. Otherwise, he's going to be doing vlogs with his brother Shiloh. And that's
okay. So let me push back. Let me push back for my guy a little bit. I think his talent is there, but because of the situation he finds himself in, he got to move differently. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not in the best position to talk right now. That's how I'm looking at it. I still believe in his talent. I still think, the argument me and DC was having, I still think he's an elite quarterback, right? But where we stand, you are not standing in the right position. You're not there yet. So why don't you move differently until you are able to prove yourself, and then you can flex a little bit. So right now you are in a position where, first of all, you're blessed for the microphone to be even pointed in your direction. So take that as a blessing, not as something where you're thinking like, oh, you deserve this. No, it's a blessing. People want to hear from you. So if that's the case, then don't treat people like fools, right? Because those reporters have to do a job. If they're trying to supply something that's in demand, you're in demand, so they're trying to provide that supply, right? So now this is your opportunity to just stay mature. You don't have to be immature about it. They got to get to a point where they either get a publicist, somebody who can tell them, hey, look, if you don't want to talk in the media, let me show you how not to talk in the media. Look at Marshawn Lynch. Okay, you see what he did? Okay, let's do a little bit above that for the sake of your brand, because people are very interested in you. But let's make sure that we give you an answer that is generic, and you're always going to say this if you don't feel like saying anything that's going to be taken out of context. Just say the most generic thing. If they ask you about Dylan Gabriel, just say, man, I wish Dylan Gabriel well. That's my teammate. I'm here cheering for him. I can't wait till my opportunity comes. Yo, can nobody take that out of context? I don't care how you look at it. If they take it out of context, we will all support you because that was the right thing. That's the most generic thing you can say. And let's bring on JR Boxing back. He's back. JR Boxing, welcome back, brother.
Oh yeah, what's good, man? You know, you got to be a husband still, man. My wife called, so I, talking to her. She getting ready for the Breezy Bowl. I'm like, Lord.
Oh, you should be like Phil.
Oh man, hey, don't let her go on stage, man. Do
Bro.
not
No,
let
you-
her go on stage.
I told her, I said, if you get picked to go on stage, don't even come back home. Just stay where you at. I love you, but stay where you at, cause I'm mad.
Hey,
And so
real quick.
if she pull back up and see a bunch of garbage bags out there,
Yep, you already know what it is.
and her wedding dress and a silver can on fire.
Yep. You
Just
know
say-
what it is? I love you, but you know what you did. Go on,
Hey.
stay where you at.
Hey, but real talk, man. I've heard a lot of good things about the Breezy Bowl. I've heard a lot of good things about the concert tour he got going on. He was in Atlanta Labor Day weekend, and I had a couple of partners and a couple of classmates and some homegirls that went. Listen, Chris Brown is. I know he had this whole situation when he was younger. I get it. But he is one of the top 5 live performers of all time. And I pray and I hope that he eventually gets to perform at the Super Bowl one of these days, because I think he would put on a show that we will never forget. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they need more years for that because, people can still remember what happened. So the protests that'll come after they choose him.
Yeah.
Hey, but
we're ready for that.
At least he's not gonna be doing everything in Spanish, so people ain't gonna worry about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm watching the halftime show this year.
Yeah, man, but I think it's really time for them to get a to get a publicist, because it's time for us to start seeing, because it's okay. There's one thing for you to be yourself, and there's one thing for you to try to help yourself in your position, right? Because you're in a bad position. You're third string and you don't belong there. You know that, right? So this is the time for you to say everything. Just say the right thing. Stay out of the way. You were doing that. In the first half, you were doing that. Then all of a sudden, now you're going back to this whole, bro, say the right thing.
But Harry B, here go the thing, because I see, we staying away from the comments, but I just hear things. It's like, folks, look, here's where DC is going to really be, and I'm saying who I am, because we have got to get. I'm all for us being whoever we want to be, but at the end of the day, is not at the expense of excellence and accountability. That is not what our forefathers and the people that endured so much did. They strove for excellence, and it wasn't because we needed to do it, but because that's what we lifted each other up. We were iron sharpens iron, and I think in our quest to fight the system now, we've gotten away from that. There are still some things you can't do. This conversation right now, I can tell you that Harry B is having because of love. It is not hate of Shador. It's not dissing him. It's not putting down. There's nobody on this panel that does not like Shador.
But I got a question for PG. PG, are you for Shador? PG, because you said anything Shador does gets criticized. The Shador hate is disgust. Look, I can't talk right now. Are you for
Despicable?
Right. Despicable. Yeah, let's use that one. Are you?
Oh man.
Are you for Shador, and do you care about his career? I want to know. Like, answer when you can, because I want to know if you're thinking, if somebody's saying, "Hey, look, if the people that matter within the media or in the organizations around the 32 teams, if they're taking this stuff, to heart, do you care that it affects him? Because that's what I'm asking. I'm not saying Shador is wrong or right. I'm just saying if people are going to interpret what you say negatively, then you got to move differently. That's all it is. Because I give that advice to my siblings and the people that I mentor. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm a community leader. All right. Me and my sister, we're going to be doing something not real soon, because this is tax season for my other channel, Billionaires Mindset. We're going to be going out into the community, and we're going to be providing free tax return or tax returns. Is it tax return or tax whatever? Tax services for the community, right? So we're going to be out there. I'm probably going to live stream it or whatever. But I want people to know that when I'm giving advice to young people, I'm saying, hey, look, put yourself in a position where people are not going to criticize you. And the Bible also talks about this. The Bible says that. So you don't get to decide how people react to you. So all we're saying is, look, if you're a third stringer and you are not in the position where, especially in this sports world, you're not in the position where you want to be at and to be talking the way you're talking, then why not just calm it down a little bit until you get to a point where you can, at least show some numbers, and then you can flex a little bit. I don't think anything is wrong with that. And for people to actually say, oh, no, you guys are hating on Shedeur, then I'm not sure. I can challenge you and I'll come for your Shedeur card. PG, I will love your Shedeur card if that's your position. I want all of your Shedeur cards that say you are a supporter of Shedeur. I want that card if you think him going 101 miles is a good idea. I want your Shedeur card. This is where I stand with it, because I don't think you're really like, oh, you rather the young man keep doing that and then maybe put himself in a situation where he loses his life for going 100. Do you know what it's like to be on the road and somebody just slightly pretend like they're about to jump into your lane, going at 100 something mile, and then you react and lose control of your car? You know what can happen at 101 miles?
But
Harry B.
It's all, to me, it's all in context. I didn't mean to cut you off, DC, but
No, go ahead.
Harry, I think it's all in context because you use the analogy of going 101 miles per hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you're a NASCAR driver and that's your job, and that's how you excel, by going at 101 miles per hour? Because if you tell a NASCAR driver to go 80 miles per hour, you lose in a race every time. So
are we racing? Because NASCAR drivers also drive on the main road.
I'm using the analogy of, in his arena of football, if that's how he feels comfortable operating.
Do you want me to come for your Shedeur card too?
Football.
I'm glad you understand it, because I'm about to get your Shedeur card too.
I gotta respond to that too. So let him get his full thought out here before we jump.
Because where you going with this? Go ahead. Let me hear what you got to say.
Because look, I take it back. I know it's the first preseason game, right? It's only preseason, just to preface that. But when the other guy on the team, right, Tony Brown, a former Alabama cornerback, right, when he came out and said, look, dog, just be you, come out to, how you feel, wear your chain, we can rock your music or whatever for your tunnel interest, because that's you, right? Be you. And so he did that. And people had a problem with that. Oh, he coming in with an entourage, who he think he is, like he third string, he fourth in training camp. Why he coming in like that? But it was another veteran in the league that said, hey man, be you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
let's go back to this 101 mile thing. Let's go back to NASCAR, because you're giving me examples where that's not even the same example. Let's go back to the 101 NASCAR. Flesh that out. I want to understand where you were going with that.
What I'm saying is, in sports, right? So in media, Shedeur has always given his like little tit for tat when it comes from media. He even did that when he was at Colorado. So if he's just answering the question and being himself answering the question, but you're saying, well, he going at a pace that's 100 miles per hour, he needs to just back it down a little bit. Well, what if he don't operate backing it down a little bit? So if you
the 101 miles thing was the real thing. He went 101 miles. I was including that.
I mean, everybody drive fast. I mean, what? That to me, that got nothing to do with it. I'm thinking you using the analogy of by him being himself all the time, he needs to tone it down. If you go 101 miles per hour, you go 101 miles per hour. People go over the speed limit all the time. I mean, that's life, man.
I want to jump in on that real quick. So I get what you're saying, JR, and for the most part, like I kind of agree with it. It's like, be who you are. We brought you here. We knew what you were. It is what it is. Also, taking advice from Tony Brown, that dude is built different. I don't know how much you know about him from his days at Alabama, but that dude is built different. And I don't think Shedeur is the person that Shedeur should be listening to somebody like Tony Brown, because their paths, their histories in life are not aligned like that. But with that being said, you can still be who you are, but also even with, hey, all I know is to drive 100 miles per hour, Ricky Bobby, you ain't first, you last. you also have to know when to hit the brake sometimes. You also have to know when to drift. You also have to know when to slow it down going around the curve. And I think that's his issue. If you want to be 100% authentically you, that's fine, but you got to deal with the consequences. You can't say, hey, I'm going to be me 100% and go 100 miles per hour and then get mad when you get pulled over because you know what the speed limit is. Shedeur is well aware of what the rules are as it pertains to this society, and especially when it comes to media in the NFL. And if he wants to continue going 100 miles per hour, when he get that super speeder ticket and he got to go to the courthouse, then he got to deal with it. Point blank.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this though. A side note. I wish y'all had ever seen an accident of somebody killed going that fast because it will change your whole
Family
perspective.
member. Four young men died
Bro,
in a car coming from a go-go party in DC.
and it was probably closed casket, wasn't it? Or for some of them.
I don't think we could. They couldn't recognize them, and they hit a tree.
Exactly. And so that's the thing of I always say is that's kind of goes back to my point of black excellence and accountability that's included. It's like, yeah, young buck, you can do whatever you want to do. You absolutely can. If y'all notice, I'm not saying you can't do it. Not once I ever said that. What I said is that again, is that people will hype you up and they'll support you. But when it's time to pay the cost, I'm gonna say it again, that bill comes to your address and only you can pay it. And we have to, when we're mentoring young men and women, we've got to
Right.
be able to tell them this. We have to be able to tell them
Even
what
if
the
they make
cost.
more money than you.
Right. You got to tell them what the cost is. Yeah, I got a need for speed. What pilot don't have a need for speed? Absolutely, I got a need for speed. I done been up to almost 150. I'm just telling you, straight up.
DC, where you
Yeah.
going, dude?
Golly,
He said,
DC.
"Where you going?" At a buck 50.
I got
Did
two
the car leave the
motorcycles.
ground?
Yeah, dude. It was a 7 Series BMW I used to have. That
That boy
thing will
floating.
go. Yeah, it was floating. I want to see what it can do. Had to back up off of it because it can do more than I want to do. But what I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you. That kind of stuff you can. But again, then I had an occupational thing where I saw what happens during accidents. I was like, oh no, man, I don't go over the speed limit no more because of stuff and how your car is designed is not going to make it for accident. But the point being is that I think as men, we have to tell them. So I think what I'm having a problem with is folks, when you saying stuff out there, giving assessment that they're calling it hate. That is what I have a problem with.
I can see the hater tag though, because look, who talking about Myles Garrett's speeding ticket, and that ain't his first offense. He done
We're
got a
not talking
couple
about
of them
Myles Garrett. We're
joints
talking about
in
Shedeur,
Cleveland.
though.
No, but what I'm saying, when you made the preference of, man, you out here driving 101 miles per hour, okay, you know, no harm, no foul. Look, hey, don't do that again. I'm sure when Myles Garrett drove 100+ miles per hour and he got pulled over by Cleveland PD and they assessed him a ticket, people probably said the same thing. Hey, man, what are you doing? You're driving 100 miles per hour. And he probably said, yep, okay, won't do it again. And then guess what? He did it again.
Jay, I'm about to pull your car. Jay, let me ask you a question.
You know, so I'm just
Are you
saying.
trying to
like,
make-
he ain't
what are you
lying though,
talking
Harry.
about?
No, I know, but that keep in mind that was not my point. He's arguing a point that was not my point. Are you trying to get the Buff fans to love you?
No,
Are you trying to stay in the good graces of
I'm not
the Shedeur
I'm
fans?
not trying to get nobody. Only people that need to love me is the person that's about to go to a breezy bowl and my daughter that's at school. Everybody else can kick rocks. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hold on, Jay. But I love you too, my brother. You know,
I
hey, you my
appreciate
brother.
the
I love you
love,
too,
man.
Don't kick.
All right, so
Kick
look,
rocks, Phil. Kick rocks.
look, here's my point. Here's the point that I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is DC talked about accountability, right? And the point that I was trying to make is I said there are going to be people who cheer it on, but then there are going to be those OGs like myself, DC, and others. Can I say Phil? Phil too, right? Because Phil's suspect. But but I'm just saying, the people that say, "Hey, look, you can go 101 miles," that's like saying we have a saying in Liberia, and y'all can probably attest to this in your own language. Like, the robber gets to do it 1,099 times, right? But the if not the thief, the person that catches him only needs to catch him one time. The reason why you say that is because you can go 100 miles per hour. You're a young buck. You have a need for speed. I just hope you make it home. So there are people who are out there and say, hey, man, look, I don't mind you going 101 miles, but I want you to please understand that those who are professional drivers who understand, who are on the road every single day, who know that driver reaction is something you got to think about. When you are going at that top speed, the slightest movement from another car can trigger you to try to swerve in a different way. And if you swerve in that way, you can lose your car. And when you lose your car, you can lose you. So when somebody who's saying, giving you that advice, the people who cheer, they call the person that says, hey, man, be careful how you do this out here. They call that person a hater. I don't know how you get to call somebody who's trying to say, I care about your bag, move a little differently in the media. I care about your life, move a little differently on the streets. How is that person a hater? I think it's flipped around. If you think about how society is, the person that's not trying to help you out, that's the hater. That's the person that really hates you. They don't like you.
But at the same time, like the analogy with the analogy using the speed reference thing like that, like it don't pertain to words, because with words, who is he hurting? He's not hurting anybody. If he's only hurting himself, those are his words that he decided to say in the media, and that's it. He got to live with that.
The two analogies were not the same. I was trying to say, if the people that call people hater, like for the first thing that we talked about when it came to controversy was the speed, the 101, right? Then the second thing we're talking about is the fact that his bag, he's messing up his bag, okay? Because there are teams that are looking at you. There are other people that are looking at you, people who can vouch for you, other quarterbacks that can vouch for you. You're messing that up when you throw everybody in a bag and say, I'm better than you. You're messing that up. So somebody, a publicist, somebody who understands the media, needs to sit you down and say, there are ways for you to say what you're trying to say or do what you're trying to do. There are more professional ways to do that. If you continue on the route that you're continuing on, it's going to mess up your bag.
And that's fine. If he decides to go down the route that he wants to do and no opportunity comes to him after that, then you know what, Harry? He has already let you know I'm okay with that by saying what he said.
But that's what I'm saying. But you're cheering that on, and if the person that cheers that on, then that means that you don't care much about this person as much as I do. I'm not the hater. You're the hater.
So by me telling somebody, hey man, if you want to live life to how you want to do it, understand there's consequences to living life how you want to do it. Right. But if that's how you choose to live your life, then you have to deal with those consequences. There's nothing wrong.
I'm told to do differently. I'm told to move differently. I'm told by my creator that I am my brother's keeper. You see what I'm saying? I am my brother's keeper. So I don't take the same advice or the same way that you live like that to say, hey, do whatever you're going to do. If I see somebody going down the wrong route, me as my brother's keeper, I have to. Okay? I am on a mandate by God himself. Hold on, let me finish my thought. God himself told me that I am my brother's keeper, and I need to say something to veer him off that wrong route, or then I'm not necessarily keeping my brother. I don't really care about my brother if I don't tell him otherwise. If you're saying just do you, then I don't know if you really care about your brother that much.
So what I'm saying is you're saying it as though he has done something wrong.
He did do something wrong.
What has he done wrong?
You don't know what he done wrong?
Who has he offended? You hear players.
No, because you're interpreting wrong as offending someone.
Okay.
Wrong is you got define what the definition of wrong in every situation is not the same. So you're saying you're trying to interpret something as, oh, if I did wrong, then I offended somebody, then that's wrong. That's not what we're talking about here.
Okay, so what did he do wrong? He
Well,
spoke
JR,
to the media.
You want me to tell you?
What
this
did
what
he do wrong?
this
Yeah,
is what I would
explain
say,
to me
JR.
what he did wrong.
This is what I would say. I won't say what he did was necessarily wrong. Okay, here's my view, and then I'm gonna jump off and listen to what you guys have to say, and I'll try to come back on. I won't say what he did is wrong. All right, but I definitely will say it wasn't wise. Okay, because here's the thing.
Which makes it wrong.
Because here's the thing, what Shador has to understand is that, you know, there's a thing that friends come and go, but enemies accumulate. And that you have to also understand that some things also are actions. The unwise actions accumulate too. So for example, what we're seeing right now goes back and can for some people give validity to his thing of saying, you know, like that, what he said, the whole thing he said about, you know, I'm capable of doing better than the other QBs. And then the other thing that, you know, saying in interviews, if y'all don't want y'all culture to change, don't draft me. You have to understand that those things continue to add up. And while they may be okay for you and I have dealt with people at that level and understand what power structures, how they see things. And you've had experience seeing how the NFL does things and knowing that there is a good portion of that is not going to be perceived favorably. So if the end of the day is we can continue to say, hey, you can do this, and I don't personally feel it's wrong, and I'm always gonna say you're free to do whatever you want to do, but we still have to tell the young brothers and sisters that this is how it's gonna be viewed from you. You say that viewed it's 32 starting positions in the NFL, and right now you've turned down 2 and your third string on 1. Now, out of the rest of those 28 left, I hope I'm doing my math right.
DC,
how many of those gonna want you?
DC, I understand what you're saying,
I would
but
like an opportunity to answer your question. But when you're done.
I think about, like you said, our forefathers and the women and the men that fought for us to have rights now. So if you go back in history and you look at those things, right? I'm not comparing him to a civil rights movement or act or anything like that.
Some people
But
are.
if you use the instance of Rosa Parks getting on the bus and being tired and they saying, no, you need to go to the back. If she decided to be like, you know what, everybody else getting up going to the back, I'm going to the back too. Could we not still be on public transit riding in the back of the bus? Could that not be a fair statement? So, you know what I'm saying? So we look at the NFL, and the NFL is an entity within itself. And so it's easy. Like I said, it's nothing wrong with what Ryan Clark said. It's nothing wrong with what you said, DC.
Wait.
If
How
you need to
wait a minute. What?
hold on. If you need to assimilate, to get what you want to get, that's fine. But if you feel like you don't need to assimilate,
No.
and you need to just, hey man, I just need to be me. And if my dream of being an NFL quarterback doesn't happen, well, hell, you know, all I said was some words. I never got the opportunity to throw the football. I just said some words, and people had an issue with that.
Nope. So I'm coming for that all 100%. I am totally coming for that 1,000% because I made the comments about what Stephen A. Smith, how he conducts himself versus what Shador is doing, how it's different. This is what you just did. You just said that if Rosa Parks, you said, I'm not comparing him to a civil rights leader, but then you went ahead and compared him to a civil rights leader. Okay? What he's doing and what he did, it ain't going to help the next guy. So if you're thinking that what he's doing is some type of something to fight the power, this is not the power that he's fighting. He's only hurting himself. It's not helping nobody else. It ain't something that he's doing that if he does it and wins, it's going to benefit anybody else. It's not. Then that means that, we're just going to have the Wild Wild West and anybody can just say whatever they want to say. That's not this. Because what Shador said was, I look around the league and I see the quarterback play. I can do better than that. People reacted to that.
And
he didn't like the way that people. He didn't like the way that people. This is the point. You said your question was what did he do wrong, right? And I'm
Exactly.
trying to tell you what he did wrong. What he said is not anything that's going to be able to hurt or help anyone, right? The thing about it is about him personally. It ain't no civil rights movement or nothing. He ain't doing nothing that's going to take us into the future, that's going to help us later on down the road, where other quarterbacks just like him can pretty much say whatever they want to say or say something similar. That's when you compare civil rights stuff to it, because what Rosa Parks did allowed us to not have to sit in the back of the bus. What Shedeur Sanders is doing has nothing to do with if we're going to be able to say anything we want to say, because what he's saying is not honorable. How is it honorable? What he's saying is not something that we're supposed to be like, okay, I want to be able to say that too. How is that? How is that? That was personal. He said him personally, he's better. So how is it even correlating at all? What is it going to help anybody to do? To say that they're also going to be better? Is that what you're trying to allude to? That let Shedeur speak his mind so that every other quarterback can speak their mind in the future?
I'm not trying to correlate it to that, but the correlation I'm making is that, look, if he chooses to do that, because what Rosa Parks did in that day was an act that sprung other things. The bus boycott didn't start the day Rosa Parks got on the bus. It started months later. It started years later. It went
How are you associating that with
went
Shedeur?
almost a year of them like boycotting. So what I'm saying is
You got to
that,
plan this stuff. It's not just something you just do the next day.
but what I'm saying is, if Shedeur wants to just speak his mind right now, like you said, Harry, it don't hurt nobody else.
If I can jump in.
But
Rex
how does it
Ryan
help
felt
somebody?
the
If it
way.
doesn't hurt somebody, how does it help?
Rex Ryan felt the way. So everybody getting on Shedeur for what Shedeur said, when you got an elder in Rex Ryan that attacked him to say, who do you think you are? You need to do this, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. Who did Shedeur offend, or who was taken back? Because every quarterback feels that they're the guy. Everybody feel that way. Every athlete feels that they're the guy. You done heard this throughout history of sports, of somebody sitting at a podium or in front of a microphone saying that they the guy. If I get the opportunity, I know I can play better than this. I know I can do better than this. I can.
So why did people respond to it if it was nothing wrong with it? Why did people react to it? Let's let Phil, you say what you got to say, and then I got a question.
Yeah, real quick. So I understand where J.R. Boston is coming from. Like, ultimately, you know, like you say, you know, Africans got a certain saying about, you know, the person that catches the thief only got to get caught once, but the thief got to, you know, get away with it 100 times. There's a saying that we say, dance with the one who brung you. So, you know, when things start getting funny and things start getting different, dance with the one who brung you. Keep up with what got you there. And I think ultimately Shedeur is going to continue being himself. People knew who he was before they drafted him. So this is what they have to deal with. I don't agree with it, but I think at the very least, you got to give Shedeur credit for sticking to his guns and being who he is. With that being said, if you are going to be who you are and you're going to go against the grain, you then can't complain because, oh, I'm being treated like X, Y, and Z. Young man, you should already know you're going to be treated like X, Y, and Z when you're going against the fold. And I think that's the conversation that a lot of people aren't having. You can be who you want to be, but I guess DC was having that conversation earlier. You can be whoever you want to be, but that doesn't give you the right to then not have to be held accountable for the decision that you're making.
And I think that's essentially what I'm saying as well, to say, hey, ain't nobody trying to hate on Shedeur. If you think that people who say, son, you know, you're you, we like you the way you are, but here is some advice for you to go, maybe not cause people to react to you in a certain way. We all have mentors. If the media is reacting to you in a certain way, that only means that you said something or did something that got everybody's attention. Okay, how do we, if you are a media person, if you're a publicist, how do we turn this around? How do we make this so that you can have favorable ratings or favorable views in the media? There's a way to do it. And it's so sad that the people who know the media, when they say, the people who are in the media and other people who may have some advice, the second they say the advice on how you can move a little differently, they are called the haters. I don't know why that is, but that's the society that we live in. It's not. You said what did Shedeur do wrong? In the grand scheme of things, Shedeur didn't do anything wrong to anybody. That is not the point here. What he did wrong, right? Because there's a what did he do wrong to anybody, and what did he do wrong? What did he do wrong is he said some things that rubbed people off wrong.
Who? Rex Ryan? Who?
I'm saying, you asked me, what did Shedeur do wrong? Right? Okay. He said some things that rubbed some people off wrong. That's why we're talking about it. If he didn't, then we wouldn't be talking about it. And then he followed that up with not talking at all, which then made it even bigger. Okay? If those things were the right things, everybody would not be taking sides. Because when Shedeur came into the Cleveland Browns, he was doing all the right things, and everybody was praising him for it. But that is wrong for his bag, not for anybody else. It's wrong for his bag. That's it. It's not right for his bag.
And so that's what I'm saying. If his words are essentially what you're saying, Harry, his words are only affecting him and his bag. And if Shedeur chooses to then continuously say those words, and he understands this affected my bag, but I still need to be me, Shedeur has to live with that. Nobody else. So that's what I'm saying. People are so caught up in what people caught up in what Shedeur is saying. And my question to you is, to me, Rex Ryan is the one that's wrong. You listen.
Rex Ryan is not our guy. Rex Ryan is not our guy. Shedeur is.
But what I'm saying, so now you asking a younger person to be the more mature person. That's what you're saying. You saying.
But hold on. You're implying that Rex Ryan is immature because of what he said. What Rex Ryan said is what everybody in the NFL believes. We can listen to these talking heads that agree with Shedeur, but I guarantee you there's 85% more people that agree with what Rex Ryan said than who agree with anybody else going for Shedeur. And I think we have to be honest about that.
I think you could go 1 for 1 either way. For every Rex Ryan, there's a LaShawn McCoy. For every Stephen A. Smith, there's a Aqib Talib. And you can name coaches, whoever.
Shady McCoy hadn't won nothing. I think he won the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Rex Ryan ain't won nothing either.
But if you want to look at his receipt as a professional, that receipt goes a lot longer than it does with Shady McCoy.
But what I'm saying is the situation of people saying, well, because Harry brought up, well, he ain't wrong because he didn't offend nobody, but he's wrong because he responded by saying, well, I feel like I could play better than these other quarterbacks. You see what's happening in the league. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Listen.
What's wrong with him saying that he
feels, let me ask you a question.
Feels that his talent, which you called him an elite quarterback, I feel like my talent is elite.
Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. If you don't think anything, if you think that he offended somebody and that's your definition of what's wrong, I'm a media person. When I speak, I'm not just speaking from just a civilian perspective. I'm talking about the bag. I'm talking about his brand. I'm talking about everything. Your position is, if he's okay with that, then I'm okay with that. But I'm trying to tell you, a publicist does not look at that. A publicist does not want to lose any dollars, does not want to lose any money. So you as a fan may be okay with him just being a rebel, but it's wrong if it's going to mess with the bag from a publicist perspective, from a
How?
media
He already signed the
perspective.
contract. What other bag is being hurt?
Okay,
He's
let me
under
tell you. Let me
contract
answer
for
your
4
question.
years.
Allow me to answer your question, because you're only thinking about his contract. From a publicist perspective, we think about outside contracts. The bag, the $4 million is I can wipe my butt with that. That's nothing. We don't worry about that. If you are an athlete, or if you are a publicist or a manager who is managing somebody like an athlete, you know that the money that you're getting from the NFL is not the money we're going after. The money we're going after is brand money. It's the money that is coming from the outside people, the sponsorships. Those are the monies that we are worried about. We're not worried about the NFL check. You already signed that. But you got to be in a light, and you got to be in a place where I can defend everything you say and do so that you can get the bigger bags. That's how a publicist approaches everything.
To me,
You're
Harry,
100% right on that one, because
Harry.
if his play on the field doesn't, if his play on the field, or if he ever gets on the field, if it doesn't live up to all the hype, all the other stuff off the field doesn't matter. He can only live off of his dad's name so much and get a real bag. So I ain't gonna lie to you. You did your thing with that one. That was a valid point.
But that is the media that I've been talking about. I don't know if somebody's missing. I'm sorry, LaFrance, George. We're gonna get to your question in a second. But J.R. Smith. Here you go, J.R. Boxing. J.R. Boxing. Look, I just want you to understand, from a media perspective, it's not about just, oh my gosh, I want to hit on Shedeur. From a media perspective, I want to make sure that Shedeur live out everything. Shedeur has the opportunity to get every single bag from everything. And I'll give you the example of this. YouTube, when we upload a video or when we are talking, they don't want us to say certain things because they have a multitude of sponsors, people who watches the video and they pay us for this videos, right? So they tell us in the background to say, if you say these amount of words, or if you say X, Y, and Z, I can only give you money from this group of people. But if your show is a show where it's just a family show, then I can open up my bank and I can give you money from everybody that's actually advertising with me, that's in business with me. I can open up more room for you. But that's the point where YouTube is talking from that point. I want to open up more room for Shedeur.
That's with specific type of language, because there's people on YouTube that grift really hard, and guess what, Harry? They make a lot of money. So
do you understand what I just said, though?
I do understand what you said.
Because
but that's
if you cuss or you say certain words, you're not going to be able to get certain advertisers.
Exactly. That's with people that use certain words. But there's people that grift on YouTube right now.
What does grifting have to do with the advertisement dollar?
And they speak around, they grift and they speak around a racial topic. And guess what? They still get advertisement dollars.
Advertisement dollar?
But wait. So YouTube may not want you to say specific words like racism or whatever like that. Like, that's a banned word. YouTube don't want you to say
No, I'm not talking about that.
Well,
I'm talking about when you say cuss words and you say like derogatory.
You cutting me off and you not letting me get to my point. So you use the example of YouTube. Yes, YouTube does not want you to say certain things because it can be deemed offensive or whatever the case may be. So off the rip, you're offending someone.
That's not the only reason.
But wait, Harry, you're offending someone. That's why YouTube doesn't want you to use the word.
No, I'm trying to tell you, no, that's not the reason.
Let me finish.
But how can I let you finish when you're saying the wrong thing? That's not the reason.
Okay, so what's the reason, Harry?
The reason is I just told you, YouTube doesn't want you to say cuss words or say X, Y, and Z, certain things, because their advertisers, let's say they have 50 advertisers. Right?
It's because you're offending somebody.
Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Let's say they have 50.
Hold on. Advertisement goes to
We're talking about money.
Advertisement goes to the base, Harry. If you're offending the base, Harry, then the advertisers, they're like,
it's not about politics. I'm trying to explain it so you can understand it, but you're saying the wrong thing.
I'm not saying the wrong thing.
You
I'm
are.
saying exactly the right thing, but you want
No,
to
you're not, because I get the YouTube checks and I get to communicate
But
with
Harry,
YouTube every single day.
Harry, you get YouTube checks because you put out your content, right? But let's say you start putting out content that's offensive. Are you gonna
You're
get
not
YouTube
listening, bro.
checks?
You're not listening
No,
at all.
Harry, let me finish. If you start putting out content that's offensive, will you then get those YouTube checks?
You're
Because
not listening.
advertisers are gonna say
It's not.
they're
You're
gonna
talking
say
two different things.
the advertisers are gonna say the people that follow us and that pay us, like Coca-Cola. Let's use that brand, right? If I start saying that, you know what, Coca-Cola starting to put crack cocaine back in Coca-Cola to get everybody hooked. And we promoting that, and YouTube like, hold on now, Coca-Cola, one of our biggest sponsors. You can't say that. You know why? Because that's offensive, right?
We're not talking about
don't want to
the same
give
thing.
money anymore because YouTube is allowing me to say that. But if I speak around it, and if I say things around it without saying, well, Coca-Cola put crack cocaine in it. But if I say, man, you know, back in 1890 when Coca-Cola first started and they started off with putting a small compound in this and da-da-da-da-da and this, that, and the third, you know what's going to happen? YouTube going to cut the check because I didn't offend anybody.
We're not talking about the same thing. We're talking.
It's the same thing. What
it's
are you
not.
talking about?
Yeah, it's not. I'm trying to explain it, but you don't want to allow me to do that.
Harry, how do advertisers make money, Harry? How do advertisers make money?
Listen, can I tell you, please? Can you allow me to talk?
We make the businesses money,
Can
Harry?
you allow me to explain this to you? Because I do this. So I get checks every single month from YouTube. It's not about offending one person or offending three people. It's not about that. Okay? I'm saying YouTube has guidelines on certain things. You can say whatever you want to say. When you say whatever you want to say, your checks are going to be the people that they can advertise on, or the advertisers that you are going to be able to get money from is going to be small. The group of advertisers is going to be small. If you have a general show that is pretty clean, that doesn't have so many controversial or cuss words or anything like that, it's a family show, they open up their advertising book and they're able to now give more advertisers. They don't limit how many advertisers are going to be on your show. So it ain't about offending. You can offend. You can do whatever you want to do. But the amount of advertisers that they put you in front of is going to be limited because there are certain advertisers that are family oriented, right? They want to say, hey, listen, man, we got this company and they like family shows. They don't like a bunch of cussing. They don't like a bunch of this. So I want to put you in front of the most amount of advertisers that I can put you in front of. But if you have a certain amount of show, or you have a certain type of show where, you know, you're very controversial, you're saying stuff that offends a certain specific.
You just said it. You just said it.
Let me finish it, though. Let me finish.
You just said offend. That's all I've been saying, Harry.
No, but I'm trying to tell you that you're saying that. I'm just trying to tell you that the amount of people that they can put you in front of is going to be limited. They don't tell you to stop saying anything. They don't say don't say it. They say I want you to. I have to make the decision how much money I get. So I want to be in front of the most amount of advertisers that YouTube has in their chest, in their war chest. That's what I'm saying.
And what did you say, Harry? You said offend, right?
No, but you're trying to take the word and you're not listening. No, I'm telling you, if you're saying offensive things or you're saying whatever you want to say, then that means they're going to put you in front of specific advertisers that don't mind those things.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. But you can say it. You can say whatever you want to say.
At the end of the day, what it boils down to is Shedeur, if he continues to act like this, he's just going to have a limited pot to pull from.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I think everybody acknowledges that. However, must be the money. If that's what you all about, then Shedeur, you need to fall in line. Or your play needs to be to that level where it's like, it don't matter. He that doggone good. We just going to pay him. And right now, we haven't been able to see him on the field in a live, real NFL game to determine whether or not he's good enough to, to have all the accolades that he's getting right now.
especially if you're thinking, Wild Dog, I'm bringing you up right now. Especially if you are a publicist or a manager who is trying to secure the bags, because Shadour's not securing his own bags. If you are the person that's behind the scenes, you're working all these different people, you want to make sure that your person that you're representing can secure as many bags. Because if I go to Walmart, I can secure the Walmart bag. If I go to the Christian organizations, I can secure that. If you don't care about that, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying.
So
if you're going to continue to be the way that you are, we don't mind. Be however. Hold on, I'm about to bring Wild Dog up. Just give me 1 second. You can do whatever you want to do. Be however you want to do. But if I'm your manager and I'm presenting offers to you and I'm saying, I got this binder, I got that binder, and I got this binder. This binder says you can't do this. This binder says you can't do this. You just need to, okay, this is what we could do for this binder. Then we put everything in front of you. If you don't care, you don't care, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. I got to present everything to you, but let's bring on Wild Dog and then I'll give you an opportunity.
I understand.
Let me bring on Wild Dog. I can give you an opportunity. Wild Dog, I just want to introduce him, then you can continue. Welcome to the show, Wild Dog. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, salute Harry B. Salute Phil. Salute JR Boxing. Blessings, Bandwagon Buff. Greetings, Bandwagon Browns.
All right, go ahead, JR Boxing, before Wild Dog's
time. If you don't mind, I'm about to hop off. Hey, it was nice talking to you guys. I miss it. I'm happy I was able to get on. I will definitely be on tomorrow night for the TCU game. My prediction is 31-17 TCU. Y'all have a blessed afternoon.
All right, Phil, thanks for coming on. Go ahead, JR Boxing.
My thing is exactly what you said. You said you can say whatever you want, but we can't promote you to everybody because what you're deeming or what you're saying or what you're promoting can be deemed as offensive, right? So if I'm asking you,
to certain people, not just offensive.
To certain people.
Right,
so what I'm asking you is, what did Shedeur say that's offensive? And you
that's not the question for me. That's not my position. You're trying to take me and put me in a position. That is not my position.
Earlier, Harry, I said, what did Shedeur say that was offensive? And you said, well, he didn't say anything.
You said what was wrong. You said who did he do wrong? You didn't say offensive.
Okay. Well, I asked you, what did he say what was wrong? And you said, well, he didn't say anything wrong to offend anyone, but overall, he said the wrong thing by saying he better than a quarterback. And you can't control how somebody reacts to what you say. So
okay, so what's wrong with that?
If he is speaking his mind, whether he say the wrong thing or the right thing, and somebody's going to say, well, I don't like the fact that he doesn't feel like he's the number one quarterback. Then what would you say to that, Harry? If Rex Ryan turned the table and Shedeur said, quote unquote, what you deem the right thing to say, what if he would have just said the right thing? Hey, man, I'm helping the team. This is what I'm doing, da-da-da-da. And then hypothetically, Rex Ryan gets up there and say, and this is the guy that thought he was going to be a franchise quarterback? What's wrong? Where's the passion? Where's the fire? Where's the this? So would Rex Ryan be wrong for saying that? So if Shedeur didn't, quote unquote, because to me, he didn't say anything wrong. He just said, I feel like I could play in the league. You see what's happening right now. Not good quarterback play. I feel like I can play right now. I'm ready. I've been working out. I've been training.
I didn't what he said, though.
Rex Ryan come back and say, you ain't sitting in the front. You ain't studying. You ain't this. You ain't that. Rex Ryan ain't even it. He's not.
Why are you trying to pin Rex Ryan stuff on me though? I don't get.
Rex Ryan.
What you want me to answer?
Rex Ryan not in the building. So the next day they put the microphone in front of Shedeur, and Shedeur like, because even if I say something that,
do you think that was wrong or right?
If Shedeur felt like he said something safe by saying, hey man, I'm just getting myself ready. You see the quarterback play. I feel like I can play. I'm ready. I feel like I can play.
That's not what he said. You're trying to clean it up for him.
What did he say, Harry?
I can do better than that.
And what's wrong with that? I can
Nothing.
do better. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Okay. So he didn't say nothing wrong. I can do better than that.
He didn't say nothing wrong to offend anybody. He didn't say nothing wrong to offend anybody. But was it wrong? Yes or no?
No, it was not wrong.
Okay, let me
As
handle some
player,
business.
I
And let
feel
me
like
get Wild
do
Dog's
better.
opinion.
I can do better.
Okay, fine. I get it. Jimmy Cleveland says, for example, you can't use profanity until after first 7 seconds, and a lot of profanity during the show will hurt your monetary balance. So yeah, that was what I was trying to explain to you. But it's not you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we talk about whether it's profanity or it's offending a specific group or whatever it is. They're just trying to put you in front of the most amount of people so that you can make the most amount of money. You can maximize your earning potential. That is all that's what I was saying. So thank you, Jimmy, for the super chat. I do appreciate that. But Wild Dog, your thoughts.
Let me address the question we had earlier that you had up, and then which kind of backs up what Jimmy was just posting, is that it's like this. I've been around families, right, where they squeaky clean. You can't even use a derivative like dang of a bad word, right?
Mm.
But they will sit there and watch and listen to a comedian curse and say all kind of off-color jokes and whatever, and it's all entertainment, fun, and games, right? Right? A comedian get away with anything, right? And then everything else they do is squeaky clean. And then I've been in households where they curse like sailors, right? And tell all kind of off-color jokes. But when they go to turn on their TV or go to pay for entertainment, and you're using what they call cheat words or curse words or stuff like that, they'll be like, oh, turn that crap off, right? So it's a matter of your perspective and gaining the best opportunities for the market. But trying to read people is a real funny thing. So when I say YouTube friendly, and I say that as often as I can, that's what that's about. So that you don't take any risks, right? When we're trying to create a community or educate each other, we don't take any risks, right? In turning anyone off unnecessarily. And then
losing money in the meanwhile.
Exactly. And then when it comes to the Sanders and the discussion that you're having today, is I want to quote them. It's okay when you do it, but it's a problem when I do it. It's okay when they do it over there, they do it, but it's a problem when I do it. They know and understand this. So this is why they lean on their authenticity, right? Because they know they're gonna get hit regardless, one way or the other.
So let me say this, because we got to go soon. Thank you, Jimmy, for the Jimmy Cleveland for the super chat. He said he's a Shador fan. I'm a Shador fan, but it's important to know that you're in the recognition. You're in the recognition how outspoken his dad is. So just waiting until your play does the talking, and speaks louder. So JR Boxing, this is let me sum this up in a different way. You can allow the player to say whatever they want to say. You can say whatever you want to say, but please recognize that when you are in an association, just like you are a military guy, when you are in an association, this isn't like speaking necessarily to, you got to assimilate and all of that. This is not that. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, you're third string, you're a fifth round, you're in a position where you're not playing yet, and people give you a fight. Forget about Rex Ryan or whoever. Forget about that. I don't know why Rex Ryan is just hurting so many people. I'm not even thinking about Rex Ryan and what he said. I'm just saying, from a media standpoint, please understand that you are in the business, you are in the show business, and people who are supporting you. There's several different groups of people who are supporting you. There are the rebels who would cheer on anything you do. There are the people who have a higher standard of you, who would say, no, that was not the right way to respond to that. You got to understand, you got Christians. I would say, because your dad is a Christian and you profess to be a Christian, your base is heavily Christians. So you got Christians who are going to say, no, that's not the right way to deal with such thing. So, but that's a whole nother topic as far as religion is concerned. Just from a media standpoint, just being neutral, there are better ways for you to express yourself in what you're trying to say. There are better ways to do that. And don't fault me for telling him there is a better way to do that. Once I recognize something is wrong, I'm going to say there's a better way. Did he wrong anybody? Did he shake anybody up? Did he lose anybody's life? No. But the way that you dealt with that, that's the wrong way to deal with that. And I can say that because I'm in the media. I've watched people. We've trained people on how to answer media questions. When 42 was playing, they wanted him to also deal with the media people calling him all kinds of derogatory racial names. Would it have been wrong for him to slap one of those people in the face? Probably not, because he's reacting to it. So if JR Boxing, if you would have said, if 42 would have slapped somebody in the face for calling him a nigger, for calling him the N-word, right?
Ninja, Harry, ninja.
Hey, I like the passion though.
If somebody would have slapped him in the face, or if somebody would have spat on him and he would have slapped them back, your advice to them would have been, yo, did he do anything wrong? He didn't do anything wrong because he was protecting himself.
That's a totally different situation. You physically touched somebody. Come on,
okay, fine. I'm just saying, and if he would have responded and called them a name, right, the C word or whatever, right? When you say he done anything wrong, we're just saying, look, we want you to handle yourself professionally. It's about how you handle yourself professionally. Okay, you miming answers to the professionals is not professional. It is not.
Man.
I don't care how you look at it. You are not allowed to mime in your profession. You cannot mime in your profession. It's not professional.
The PR team.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Harry. I know he did wrong, but I laughed my butt off so hard. I'm just being real. I laughed so hard.
The PR team that told Marshawn Lynch to just get up there, man. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here. It's a PR team that told him that.
That's even better.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I like that better to be immature miming.
The PR team for Bill Belichick, they used to get at the podium and not answer no questions. Bill Belichick, a head coach, New England Patriots, would go to the podium and not answer no questions.
We cannot compare a coach who is coaching in the NFL versus a third-string guy who is miming. You cannot do that, bro.
Harry, what I'm saying is that
comedy, dog. I laugh my butt off.
There's 10 different ways to get to an end
result. You gotta have a sense of humor, man. You got even journalists. You gotta have a sense of humor.
It was funny. I like it as a rebel. I'm a rebel. But at the end of the day, was it professional? It was not. If you think that was professional, then you are out of your mind. That was not professional, bro.
Not professional. I didn't say it was professional.
Well, that's what I'm saying is wrong. If it's not professional, then it's wrong.
What I said was it wasn't wrong.
It wasn't wrong that he did it to anybody, that he offended anybody, that he did anything to anybody, but it was wrong because it was not professional. And you, as a professional athlete, you got to conduct yourself professionally at all times. So if it wasn't professional, then it was wrong.
But it was entertaining, Harry.
Questions, Harry.
But that's the thing, Harry.
Questions, and he just didn't say nothing. Is he wrong?
Yes, he's wrong for not saying anything because there are ways people can teach you how to say stuff without saying anything.
If I say the right thing and somebody can perceive it wrong, if I don't say nothing and somebody can perceive it wrong, then so what's right?
What's right is, I can tell you what's right. The right way for you to say something without saying anything is to, if somebody asks you, Dylan Gabriel is about to start, what are your thoughts? Man, that's my teammate. I'm rooting him on. Why you can't just say that? What is wrong with the Sanders? What are you telling me? You can't just say that's my teammate. I'm supporting him.
But they didn't ask you to do that question.
Listen, the question was about Dylan Gabriel starting. I'm just saying, if you're miming your answers, that's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. If they ask you about Dylan Gabriel starting and you say, man, that's my teammate, I hope we win this week. What's wrong with that? Nobody's going to misinterpret that. It's just like, that's my teammate. That's my dog. If it's not your dog and you don't want to say all of that, just say, this is my team. I support my team, and I'm rooting for my teammate. Bruh, there are 1,000 ways to say something without saying anything. The fact that we're here talking about it is because he did this wrong. He mimed it. That's wrong.
I don't think he did anything wrong. There's been
He
players
didn't do
that
anything
said
wrong in the two definitions of wrong.
that
If
there has
there's
been,
somebody doing something wrong in a general sense, so somebody, right, is wrong in the general public, that's not wrong.
there
He
has
has the right
been
to do whatever you want to do, but is it wrong because it wasn't professional? It was wrong because it was not professional, and he is a professional football player.
there have been coaches and players alike that have
Doesn't
done
matter.
worse, that have said
It doesn't
worse.
matter. They're coaches. They were hired to be
I
coaches.
said coaches and players alike that have said and have done worse.
Bro, we're
And
talking about
it
Shador,
hasn't
bro.
hurt their brand. It hasn't hurt their likability. So if he got up there and he mimed, because if he did say what we deem to be the right thing, hey man, I just hope the team win, and then somebody can turn around and say, well, he hoping the team win. He never gonna see the field in. Man, well, I hope the team lose. Now he's trying to.
If it's not professional, it's wrong. But
if I can get in,
it's 1:13, man. I'm supposed to be off here at 1:00. Let's get final thoughts because
if I can get my final thought, then it's like I hear what you're saying, Harry B, and I've been trained a long time, right? But like even in my time, I had established so many relationships and had laid down so many good interviews, radio, TV, in the newspaper and everything, that if I slipped up, they took care of me. Or if I decided to go and do something just totally out of the box, comedic, like Shador did, it's entertainment, it's sports entertainment, then it was taken as comedy. It was taken as being comedic. And though I know Shador is new to the NFL, he is not new to the press. So in my opinion, I take this as being comedic under that line of entertainment.
Absolutely.
And if the fan base, if the journalists don't have a sense of humor, then they the ones in the wrong, because that's human nature. That's a condition of being a human being. So I take it as comedic entertainment. And that's why I laughed my butt off and didn't take it seriously. And if you can read lips, he did give a good answer.
I thought it was comedic too, but apparently the certain people didn't see it as comedic. But I thought it was comedic too. But keep in mind, not everybody's going to react to the way that you think it will.
They got their panties in a wad, and it's okay if you do it, but it's a problem if I do it. Same thing.
All right, JR Boxing. Your turn.
To me, I look off and just to expound off of what Wild Dog said. Look, man, he chose not to say nothing. He chose to mime about it. Now, if Jimmy Haslam or Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski come out and say, I ain't appreciate him miming that, you need to be a professional, yada, yada, yada. Well, them his bosses. So anybody in the media that got anything to say about, oh, well, that's deemed unprofessional and da-da-da-da-da. Hey, man, if his bosses ain't got nothing to say about it, then, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Because your play will supersede all. Ja Morant. Ja Morant was caught with weapons. He in the strip club with money everywhere. Da-da-da-da-da. Nike suspended his little shoe release. Now his shoe, one of the top sellers on Nike again in basketball. He back in commercials. He back on Gatorade commercials.
And we're all, and the world is great. Yeah, I'm not supporting that. I don't care what if you got guns, I'm not supporting that. And I will talk about you until I will bury you.
And Harry,
and I'm not sitting there. I'm not one of these loose human beings out here to be like, oh yeah, he's selling shoes, so I'm great with his guns. Come on, man, let him get up out of here.
I understand what you're saying, Harry.
Man, please.
But who cutting the check?
It doesn't matter who's cutting the check. I would check anybody who's wrong, regardless of how much money they got.
Your view, that's your view, right? Because you said it's about marketability. It's about you went on a whole diatribe about being marketed, being all of this and all of that stuff. You went on a diatribe about that and said that stuff. and yet they are still managing to market Ja Morant. Do I agree with what he did? Absolutely not. But somebody who is cutting him a check, agreeing with it, because they still putting him all over TV. And we talking about Shedeur miming something. Ja Morant was on the court doing the whole grenade thing.
You're using two unequal things.
It's not unequal, man.
Yes, it is, because if you follow the Ja Morant story, that was messing with his money. Now that people have a short memory and things, and he's been forgiven and he's cleaned up his situation. Yes, they can now remarket him and try to use some of that, but.
Exactly.
Don't
and that's what I'm saying, Harry. You saying
what he was doing
make...
was some type of heroic thing that now got him more money. No, because the publicists behind the scenes and everybody, when they were talking, it was messing up his money. You just said that they delay his release. If I'm his manager, I don't want that to be delayed. So what? So you're making my point here.
No, the point is,
you are making my point.
No,
that was my
Harry,
point. I don't want nothing to mess up the bag.
I'm trying to make, Harry, the point that I'm trying to make,
what?
Shedeur miming something, this is front page news right now. Next week, it don't matter. That's what I'm saying. Shedeur don't lose nothing over
if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything.
He don't lose nothing over miming. What does he lose?
You're not getting the point, though.
I get the point. I just explained to you in Ja Morant. I said he lost money, and they came and they double back.
Wasn't that my point that I was making?
They rehab his situation. So what I'm saying to Shedeur, he didn't do anything remotely close to that. So if Ja Morant,
we don't have to use everybody's position.
If Ja Morant's situation can be rehabilitated over the course of a year, then we talking about Shedeur this week.
You just made my overarching point,
the rehabilitation process for Shedeur, people gonna move on next week. If Dylan Gabriel have a bad game,
you're making my point.
Your focus. It's gonna be Dylan Gabriel had a bad game.
You're making my point, my guy.
Good game, then people gonna say, well, Shedeur might not ever see the field because Dylan Gabriel had a good game. That's what I'm saying. People
so you're making my point. You're making my point.
He don't even have to change nothing. People just gonna move on. That's what's gonna happen.
You're making my point. You're making my point here.
Without Shedeur having to change anything, people would just move on.
You're making my point here.
Something else is gonna be next week's news.
Exactly, but you're making my point here. If people have to move on, if people have to make decisions to forget about what you did, then you're telling me he didn't do nothing wrong because he can be rehabilitated. Then that's what my point is. We want to minimize the damage. We want to minimize.
No. I'm saying people will move on because something else is going to come up. I'm not saying people going to move on from him like, oh, he just don't get it. So we just
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
People going to move
something
on.
Something else is going to
because
guys that will come up. JR, let me talk a little bit, bro. You be hugging the mic. Listen, you just said that people will move on to something else that's going to get their attention, not move on from the person. I'm agreeing with that. But I said my overarching point was that you want to minimize those things where people have to move on from. That's all I was saying. I didn't say that Shedeur just caused a World War III. I didn't say none of that. But I said as a publicist or somebody who manages somebody, you want to minimize those type of things that happens that you want to say, okay, let's move. Hopefully we'll move on from that, right? So you want to make sure that you advise your guy. You say, look, man, if you're going to say those type of things, or if you're not going to say anything at all, I get it, but you can't be mature in a professional business. Here's how we're going to handle this. That's all I'm saying. Stop thinking like somebody who says the opposite of what you're thinking or how you are handling it is a hater. I am not a hater of Shedeur. This whole channel is because of his dad. I'm grateful. But I'm just trying to say we got to hold each other accountable. We can't say everything is great because we just want to be rebels. Everything is not great. So I'm just trying to tell you that I have the position of saying, look, man, I laughed at that situation. I didn't care, but not everybody's going to react the same way. The media should have had a good sense of humor and just laughed at it, and we should have moved on. They didn't do that. So now we're here having this conversation. So I'm like, okay, if we're having this conversation and people are saying X, Y, and Z, then I say, okay, as a media person, as somebody who was in the room training politicians, training celebrities on how to actually say certain things, I have the position where I've been in these meetings and I say, oh, okay, this is how a publicist would tell you to say that. You don't want to say anything and you don't want people to take your words out of context. Perfect. We got to wait for you to do that. It's not this. It ain't going to be trying to clown the media. It ain't that. You don't want to be in that position because they're going to talk about you even more. But I know exactly what you can say and not say anything at all. That was my position. So if y'all want to call me, oh, you're a Shedeur hater, you don't like Shedeur, I present to you that you're the Shedeur hater, not you, JR Boxing. I'm saying you're the Shedeur hater because all I'm saying is I'm an OG who's lived this life for a very long time. I've lived it in different corporate rooms and different corporate media positions. And I'm saying we have coached people out of situations and we have coached people into situations. So if they're feeling some kind of way and they have all the right to feel some kind of way based on what he did, here's the better way for him to handle that. If that's so wrong, then I'll stay wrong. Then I want to be in the position where I'm wrong for giving advice on a better way to handle a situation that some people deem not right. That's it. All right, man. Look, thank you for being on here, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for always coming on and challenging what it is, whatever it is we're talking about. It's very much appreciated, man.
Salute, man. It's
We'll
all
do it-
love here. It's
We'll
always
do
all
it,
love, man.
we'll do it again.
We'll do it again, bro. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too, brother. I'm
All
out.
right.
All right, guys in the chat, everybody, look, if you're against me and whatever, Marble, LaFrance, VI, if y'all against me, I'm cool with being the bad guy because my stance is always going to be the righteous stance. I'm never going to divert from the stance that I know that is right. All right, but if we can agree to disagree, then you're in the right place. But if you don't mind, then you're gonna unsubscribe. If you're gonna unsubscribe because you think that I should be like you, and I can't, and I don't want to be like you. But if you don't mind me being the way I am and you being the way you are, then we can all be in this community and we can share thoughts. That's all it's about. But I'm never gonna be you. I don't want to be you. And I don't want you to be me. I want you to challenge me. And I have conceded to points where people said something different. And if it convinced me, I said, yeah, you're right. But if we can't agree to disagree, or we can allow other people to have their separate opinions about things, then maybe you shouldn't be around here. Maybe you should unsubscribe. Maybe you should go somewhere else where everybody can agree and you can get caught up in the echo chamber. Not here. TLP Sports Club. I go by the name of Harry B. The B means billion. I'm out of here. Blah! Peace.